person sees all.
Merry Christmas, Kenny. Hope you guys are watching. I'm thinking of you, brother. Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody. Oh wow, it's 12:02. Yeah, it's really Christmas. Just now, I'm up. Of course, it's early. It's afternoon, 12 midnight. um, Problems with the infrared camera. It's more my SD card says it's full and it's not full. So I really don't know why that is occurring. But with the infrared camera, I'm gonna have to go get a new one. Guys, what do you think of this? This is Mare serenitatis. Have you ever seen an exceptional shot of Mare serenitatis? Of course, we're along the Terminator line, but check out the cutout area right there, which is, by the way, right in the corner where Bereshit, Israel, would have crash landed there. So now we're trying to find and locate a difference in the surface. And, well, each moon phase that we go up, we see a difference. So what does that tell us? If it's not the surface itself changing, there has to be some type of manipulation on the surface, and that would relate to something like a smoke or a haze. It's been mentioned before, gases. Sure, there's atmospheric disturbance. Maybe, right? We don't know. See this object rising off the surface behind that elongated crater there, a square over here, always anomalies. And I like showing them because there's so many differences of them that appear depending on where the Terminator line is. What do you think of that square between Kepler crater and Copernicus crater? Pretty exceptional to be able to see square cutouts. And when I say a square cutout, my friends, this is at least 100 to 200 kilometers wide, that square. That's pretty large. So I guess we're going to go see some Christmas anomalies. Oh, yeah. Here's a tower, right? Well, it's a tower if you're looking at it straight up. The moon's now lying to the right. We'll go see it right the way it is before manipulating the angle. Just behind that elongated crater again. There it is. So you'd see it on the bottom east side of the moon, Oceanus Procellarum, the elongated crater, just off to the outer limits where the Terminator line is. And here's another angle of it. So we see many of these elevated, I don't know what to call them. They're like spikes if you want. I know Christian Maus also mentioned them and talked about them. That NASA at one point, some article or something like that, you could see them. Reiner crater off hiding at the end of Kepler along that supposed line of ejecta. Here's a couple of nice shots of Aristarchus crater and that crazy shadow along that ridge there. In this video, anybody that wants proof of UFOs and activity on the moon will see it right here in the video. Now I'm going to bring you guys and gals, and I will more often, I promise, each and every time, into my editor. This is the way I look at objects going by. Often you don't see this, right? I'm in my editor, and I'm going forward, backwards, trying to analyze exactly what we're looking at. But I found some new findings, my friends. This is one of the most incredible captures of the moon ever, actually. There's probably only a few handful of these captured because it's the real thing, and it's just not raining these videos. But I noticed something about these objects. We're saying UFO, but what if these objects, I'm speculating here, what if these objects are on tracks on the surface? Why am I saying this? Notice there's the proof, guys. You can't say anything about it. This UFO is veering off, whatever it may be. But, There's lots we're going to see in this video. I'm very sad showing it at Christmas. Probably nobody's going to see it, guys. We're going to talk about zigzagging videos. Watch this, rocking back and forth. Notice the trajectory this UFO is taking as it goes across the moon. It has this up and down zigzagging, or more or less left and right, but we're seeing it up and down, right, as it's crossing by. But notice another thing. What are traits and signatures that professionals in secrecy look for, whether it be military, whatever, you know? They're looking for vapor trails at the back of these UFOs. They're looking for signs of proof that these objects are actually captured at the speeds, high elevated, like high velocity, not like high velocity speeds. This one here, for example, does not have a high velocity speed, and there's no vapor or signature trails behind it as we see here. Notice this light with the dark object that I show many a times. Watch it detach itself. Many things happen in my footage that I don't necessarily mention, or not that I don't mention, is that I have to show it in a certain way before just saying that, yeah, those lights, they're projectiles. But you see it here yourself, and this is one of 10, 15 times that I've showed this, the objects leaving the UFOs. So when you hear me saying that UFOs are firing projectiles, in no way am I lying. No matter what these objects are, we don't know. We don't know what they are. The UFO itself, we don't know what it is. But it doesn't matter, because we're seeing proof of an interaction of possibly an intelligent species, whether it be human or alien. It's still there. It's on the moon. So now, like I was saying, here it is again, moving left, the other one's moving, one moving straight up, the other one moving to the right, zigzagging on the outskirts. And here's the thing, I'm going to show you that they're all simultaneously moving together. And that's what we're going to see further on in the video. Remember this area with that 90-degree angle? Remember this large object that looks like a head with a mouth open, two eyes, bald head, right? Obviously not. I'm just telling you that it's a shape or form on the surface. Pretty cool. You guys started that, telling me there's heads all over the surface of the moon. Well, there's a lot of objects out of place, including this one here that we showed. But again, in the editor, I often adjust the intensity of the exposure, which is not manipulating, and the color appears by itself. So here, by inverting it, we see that straight up, there's a line on the surface that's very curious and looks constructed. Now we're getting to the interesting part, and not just interesting, my friends, it's very important. As these UFOs are moving along, I don't even know if you guys are going to pick it up. I've been saying it for a year, but I really want to get into it now this way and show you something. There's a light on the surface of the UFO advancing, but look what happens. Oops. The UFO continues to advance, but the light on the surface remains lit up. This is why I'm saying, could these objects be on the surface? There's something going on. There's a system of something on the surface. Now look at these, simultaneously moving. So they're hundreds of kilometers apart, yet they are lighting up at the same time, and they're traveling at the exact same speeds, except apart from themselves, like they were on tracks. As we proceed, we're just on the outer limits of the moon, Terminator line. Here we can see the craters that are looking like they're elevated off of the surface, but look at the grid lines. You're not going to say that you can't see them. You can see the lines side by side, overlapping, not overlapping themselves. They're longing themselves one beside the other. Copernicus crater, light source, can be seen beside Copernicus crater. We're on the east side, bottom side. So it's southeast side. We see massive lines running to these jumbled up structures, and they really are structures. What do you think of this section of the moon? Are these abandoned structures? We're seeing a whole city down there, and it's in the crevices, in the areas where it just looks like there's some type of dirt or snow or something, right, thrown over these objects. Can you see them? I mean, it's straight up on the surface in areas where everyone is looking with the telescopes, but we're not noticing the fine print, right? Those fine tuning details. Copernicus crater here, we see the mineralogy that's around it, if it's minerals at all, the blue spots that are beside it, the supposedly UFO vessel. I mean, NASA, everybody's talking about this. Look at it. Isn't it amazing? It's an elongated crater. Where do you guys see that there's a crater there? We're looking at a massive ship or something that's on the edge of the moon there. It's about time some of us wake up here thinking, we're believing these stupid things. They say there's craters on the moon. Have you guys ever seen a crater on the moon? I haven't. I laugh at people when they tell me there's craters on the moon. It's ridiculous. The story's a big mix-up, and it's upside down. There is no craters on the moon. There's a city. There's people living up there, whether it be alien or not. What about these lines? What do you think of that? Proof is all there. And it's proof after proof after proof after proof. Structuring here on the surface. It could be machines, right? The moon really could be machinery, okay? Because we're looking at connections, setups. And these setups, my friends, are in no way small at all. Copernicus crater anomaly. We're looking at Copernicus crater, an inverted and this high elevated towering object off the side of the crater. Once again, craters we are always following. What do you think of the greenery inside this crater? As we're everywhere on the surface, obviously, you can see it's smokes and hazes that are hiding a very, very colorful surface. As for refraction, you'd have to look for it with a magnifying lens, because who gives a hell about those little lines of blue? It's fringing. That's all it is. Here, UFO, new finding for Christmas. Enjoy. That's what they look like. That's how hard they are to find. And once again, we're seeing another light source coming out of a crater. Okay? They're not craters, right? It's areas that were built on the moon, and it's a setup. Whatever they're using it for, it's being used. And we're seeing activity go in and out of the craters. That smoke and the haze, right? It gives us an impression that the craters have all the same depth. They don't have the same depth. Each and every crater has a different depth and has different structuring in it, different lines going to it, but they're under the haze. Like here, for example, we see this massive construction. Looks like we're at a train center here. I'm on my way 2020 to Arizona.
This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem.
What them there seems to be the problem?